I mean, really, think about this. So this chick, man, she tells me that this dude had her mind so wrapped up in this little fantasy, this little story that he made up, because that's what he did. He concocted this story and told her all this shit about me, which she ultimately found out was untrue. This is her story. She's like, yeah, I'm so sorry. That piece of shit, he told me all this stuff and I believed it, and that's why I deleted you as a friend. But the more I hung out with him, the more I realized, and I finally found out the truth, that everything he was saying about you wasn't true. You were right. He's a liar. I found it out and I had to learn the hard way. This bitch thinks that I'm going to take her back on my good graces as a friend. Okay, first of all, bitch, if you're gonna run off and do some shit like that, you were never my friend in the first place. You were just an associate. You're someone who I went to high school with, and you showed your true colors, bitch. I used to see you when I was in fucking Edmonds, and you'd be driving around, and I'd be driving around, and we'd see each other in traffic, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I know this bitch from high school sees me sitting in the car right next to her, but she wants to pretend like I'm not in the car next to her. Okay, and then, so 10 years later down the road, here she is, and I get this little thing on Facebook, and she's talking about blah, 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 whoop-de-whoop, you know? And her sister was digging me and was into me and tried to have a relationship with me and shit, which I broke off real quick, because I'm like, you know, whatever, man, you know, this chick, man, she's trying to game and all this shit. So anyway, I was cool, and I kept it cool, but here she is, you know, 10 years down the road on Facebook, pretending like that didn't transpire in traffic. Like I wasn't seeing her because, man, she had a little job. She had a little job there. I'm going to the college at the time, okay? And she's working this job. And I'd drive by her office all the time, and I'd see her sitting there. You know, she'd be sitting in the office, and she'd pretend like she didn't see me. You know, this is someone who I went to school with, high school with. She wasn't popular in high school. I'm the one that had the popular fraternity and sorority. And I'm not talking about the Lions Club. And I'm not talking about the local lodge. I'm not talking about any of these ancient fraternities, okay? I'm talking about a fraternity that my people started, that I started, okay? We had the largest independent fraternity / sorority in the town that I come from. Man, I used to throw parties where there were cars up and down the block for a half a mile, 3/4 of a mile. Man, come on, man. I had a house on 23rd Street, okay? And I had cars wrapped around the block. SWAT team used to show up, people bringing AK. Come on, man, you can't tell me anything. I used to organize the parties, okay? There used to be house parties. I used to organize the super house parties. And I used to travel from city to city, from Vancouver, British Columbia, to Vancouver, Washington, up and down the coast. And I had the party crew, and we had 15, 20 cars deep. I used to roll with all kinds of different sets from the West Coast, Bloods, Crips, you know, Vice Lords, Disciples, 13s, 14s. Yeah, I was cool with 13s, man. I was cool with Serenos. I was cool with Norteños at the same time. I was cool with Crips at the same time. And I was a Blood from the West Coast. And I was cool with Vice Lords and Gangster Disciples because, man, I kept it neutral. And I kept it pieced up. Alright? So I was the peacekeeper, man. I was the guy that held it down. I'd go to parties and if people got out of line, we'd fuck people up and be like, man, you shouldn't have tried to date rape that chick. And we fucking put the dude down and be like, man, you can't just be touching up on women up in this party and shit. Motherfuckers would try to get out of line. We pull out fucking guns and put them to fucking people's faces. Put guns in motherfuckers' mouths and shit. And people thought when we came to the party, at first they thought we were the bad guys. And then they learned, nah, we're not the bad guys. We're the dudes keeping the peace. Then they'd be like, Rob, your crew can come to my place anytime you want, man. In fact, man, I love you guys, man. Man, will you guys do a house party next? Come on, man. I had that shit on lock, dude. And everybody wanted to be with my chick at the time. Man, there's this motherfucker, check this out. I had this female, right? When I was in a relationship with her, at first, before I found out that she was unfaithful, there was this dude. Imagine you're in a relationship with somebody. And then you got this third party coming over, dropping off little teddy bears on her front porch. Huh? Or his front porch. You're going to be like, hey, man, why do you keep getting these teddy bears? It's cool. You got a little, lover or whatever. This dude was a fucking hater, man. Yeah, he was a hater. And he shot one of my friends from childhood. You know what I mean? And people think that this shit wasn't premeditated. It was premeditated murder. This motherfucker was a hater. Yeah, I don't even need to say, that's the power of the internet. I don't even need to say this dude's name. Okay? I was in a relationship with this chick. All these dudes were jealous. They all wanted to be with her. You know what I mean? Because I was the man. And I was the dude holding this shit down. I was the dude that used to travel 15, 20 carloads deep to parties and shit. And we used to jump out of cars with fucking guns tucked in our fucking waistbands. Triple fat goose jackets, parkas, West Coast, man. Come on, man. If you ain't from the West Coast, man, what? Okay? That's how I used to roll. And I was 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 years old, all up into my 20s, man. I used to organize shows when punk ass wannabe fucking gangsters in Malibu's most wanted version of Washington State, aka Shoreline, on the 8-5 block, all those little fake ass boy bands, all those little fake ass Bloods, okay? They weren't real B-Dogs, man. They're not connected to LA like we were. Kevin Burns, my homeboy Kevin Burns from Pacoima, Piru Blood. What? Damu, Piru, UBN, United Blood Nation. We had the real shit. The niggas out there, man, on Shoreline. Little gated community of Shoreline next to Edmonds where the median home value's $350,000. Come on, man. I come from the projects of North Everett. Little fake ass dudes out in Shoreline trying to make up some popcorn ass gang, talking about, yeah, we out here. You ain't no real soldiers, and your band, your little fake rap group is defunct, disbanded. Cause nobody, man, your little fairy tales that you would tell. So anyway, man, I used to roll hella deep. Okay, the deepest, deeper than anybody else, man. You know. And my crew, you know, we're pulling out pistols wherever we go. I go to an Everett High football game. Some dude tries to pull out a gun. We take his gun and we put it to his dome like, what's up, homie? Okay? This motherfucker wants to threaten us. Why? He wants to hate on us. Why? Why? Because we're popular? Because, you know, Stephanie knows what I'm talking about. You know? Come on, man. Dave knows what... Man, these people, I don't even need to say their last names. These people know... Shane knows what I'm talking about. You know? Scoot knows what I'm talking about. I don't even need to say last names. Thousands of people know what I'm talking about. I go to the Everett High football game and I show up with 300 people. Yeah, 300 people. And I'm in the front. Like, what's up, man? And some dudes from Cascade High School or some dudes from Mariner or some dudes from Compton, California. They want to trip on us and we're like, hey, man, this is Everett, Washington, man. Fuck you little gang from California. Okay? If you ain't on good terms with us, if you ain't cool with us, man, you ain't finna do anything up in this town of ours, man. This is EVT, Everett, Washington, man. You ain't gonna infiltrate our town and take over shit, man. Fuck that shit. My mother was in the military and served this country for 20 motherfucking years. And you ain't finna come up in Everett, Washington and overrun our town with gangs. Man, take your little punk ass back to little, you know what I'm saying, whatever fake ass Marysville town you come from. Trying to tell people that you're from fucking California. You know what I'm saying, with your little fake, take your ass back to Bremerton with your little fake ass gang. Okay? And I'm not talking about, you know what I'm saying, my homies from Acacia Block, who I put on, you know what I'm saying, the November 12th Project. No, I'm talking about these fake ass dudes. Taylor, you know who I'm talking about, Taylor? Yeah, Taylor, little fake ass dude. You know what I'm saying? These people know who I'm talking about, man. See, I don't even need to say last names. Okay? So these dudes, so yeah, take dude's gun. Yeah, man. Hey, look, man, I didn't, you know, what, drive by on dude's house? You know, dude, I don't know anything. You know what I'm saying? All I know, man, is the haters found out real quick. You know what I'm saying? That they don't need to hate on us just because we're popular, man. Just because they see us shining and we're doing things. So what? So that's how it all starts. So this dude, he sees that I'm in this relationship with this woman for 3 3/4 years. What does he want to start doing, man? He wants to start showing up at her house and putting little teddy bears on her fucking porch every single day. So one day I follow him. Okay? This is the same dude, and he doesn't see me, but I see him get in the car. He ran down the little alley and shit. I'm across the street because I know that he's coming. So I'm waiting across the street in the bushes, and I watch him fucking show up in the alley across from her house. Okay? So he's a block away, and he doesn't even know that there's somebody sitting in the bushes with a fucking fully loaded handgun, pistol, sidearm, watching this fucking punk ass. Okay? So I see him get out of the car, and he runs up to the house. He comes between the houses. He does his little routine. This is the same dude who said that my people stole his parka when we were 15, 16 years old. You know what's funny? We never stole this dude's parka. We didn't go around stealing people's parkas. We went around like guardian angels like you see in New York, and we protected people from getting punked in neighborhoods. We protected people from gangs that came up from California that weren't trying to piece it up in the communities and do grassroots movements and do good things for the better of society. Yeah, that's the organization that we had, 495. That's what the fraternity and sorority was about. Keeping criminal elements out of our communities and our neighborhoods. And that included corrupt police officers. Okay? So here's this dude. He sees that we're doing big things and that we're popular, and he's antisocial. He's an outcast. I roll with 300 people at a time. I'm rolling 300 people deep when I'm going to a party. I'm bringing 15, 20 carloads, maybe even more. House parties packed with people, and I'm the one that's organizing the whole thing. He sees that I'm with one of the hottest chicks at the time in the city. He sees this. So what does he do? Oh, he wants to be with her. So he thinks it's cool that he could just come over and drop off these little teddy bears. So I tell the female, I'm like, hey, look, I noticed that, this dude's doing that, and I see that you're getting these little teddy bears, and, who am I to, hey, look, that's cool that you got a little secret admirer. I know who it is. She tells me not to tell him to stop. She's like, no, don't tell him to, stop. And I'm like, okay, I won't. You see, a lot of people, man, they're thinking, oh, well, did Rob pull a hate move? Well, first of all, man, put yourself in my position. I knew who it was, and it turns out to be some dude that's been hating on me since day one, okay? Since back in the day, making up stories. He sees me in the neighborhood, rolling deep, 150 people at the time. Because, man, I was modular. I could hook up with, start knocking on doors. What's up? What's this before we're even driving? 13, 14 years old. I knock on a door, walk a couple houses down. That's our whole neighborhood. By the time I get up to the high school, we got 150 kids from my neighborhood, the Riverside neighborhood. I'm from the Riverside neighborhood of North Everett, okay? So anyway, this dude, he's antisocial. He could have been cool with us. We would have protected him. What does he do? He goes and he makes up some story about how we stole his parka, and that's not even how we operate. You get violated in my organization if you do some punk shit, if you just randomly, indiscriminately steal something from somebody, you know what I'm saying? Just steal a hat or a parka or a jacket from somebody. Man, we never rolled like that. Because we didn't want motherfuckers coming up from California doing that shit to us, so we always packed pistols. This dude could have kept it cool with us. What does he do? Nah, man, he wants to go and tell the authorities and tell all these people, oh, that's the crew that stole my parka. And I call them out. I'm like, hey, man, we never stole your parka, dude. Stop telling people this fucking fable, man, the story of yours. So for all these years, man, I'd go to these parties and I'd see him there. You know what I'm saying? Because I was cool with this brother. Because his brother dated a friend of my girlfriend. Female that knew my girlfriend, and they were friends, So anyway, I'd see him. I was like, hey, man, your brother, man, he's a liar. He's like, I know. He's been telling that story for years that you guys stole his parka. I'm like, hey, man, we never stole his parka. Why did, he just wants to project his story unto the masses that we did this thing so that he can have a reason to fucking be a hater. So years down the road, here this dude, he sees I'm in a relationship. What if it were the other way around? What if I were coming over to his girlfriend's house, dropping off teddy bears, huh? Think about that. What if I, Robert Taylor, were going over to his house, dropping off teddy bears, huh? What if I were doing that for like 6 months? Don't you think you'd be like, man, Rob, man, that's some hater shit, man. I'm in a relationship, you see that. Anyway, man, so I see him one night at the club. Yep, exactly, man. This dude, he wants to go to this house party, and he wants to shoot one of my friends. No, he shot 2 of my friends. Yep, he shot one of my friends with a .45 razor tip bullet in the leg. I thought he was dead. He looked up at the stars and was like, Rob, Grove, man, I'm not dead, man. Just, go and see what's going on, man. I went and I saw the, other homie, and he was deceased a few hours later. You know what I'm saying? So, that shit was premeditated, man. This motherfucker always plotted that shit. He was always trying to do that shit. He was always hating on us. That's the kind of hater shit, man. So that's why wherever we always went, wherever we rolled, man, we always packed pistols, always up in clubs, not even giving a fuck about the law. You know what I'm saying? Bars, clubs, taverns, all that shit, man. So that's the West Coast, man. That's West Coast life. That's how we grew up, and that's what it's always been about. So when I find out, man, that these people, after all these things that I did for them for all these decades, man, to get their backs, how do they want to treat me, man? They want to start, they think that they could just make up some stories about me, man. They forget that when enemies and rivals came for us, I was the very first person through the door with the ski mask and the fully loaded weapons, okay? So now that I've moved to a different part of the world and I'm in the corporate sector and I've worked legitimately as a government contractor and I earned an English scholarship and went to college and the university and I've worked for the government and I got my business in order and together. Oh, so what? Now they're gonna make up some stories about me? Okay? So that's how people roll, man. Where I come from. Okay? They just pick some shit out of their minds, sketch it real quick, think it sounds good, and then they start telling people these little stories, man. Okay? And what did you do for these people, man? What did you do for these people your whole life? You looked out for them, you fed them, you gave them roof over their heads, you fucking helped take care of enemies and shit, you know what I'm saying? And help defend them, and in return, they want to start making up these fucking stories. Fucking haters.